guys, it's Sam. Welcome back to Vlogmas. Today's video is my 2022 media in review. I've been doing this for the last handful of years, and this just is going over all the media that's not book related that I engaged with in 2022. So this year, not a lot of variety. I actually watched my 2021 video again, just out of curiosity of what I all talked about, just to see if there wasn't too much like overlap, because some games have overlapped, but really only one. And I didn't want to like double up on things that I've just like continued to play. But I watched a lot more TV and watched a lot more movies last year. I watched not a single movie, either just in general that I hadn't already seen. I watched like, oh, that's a lie. I can talk about one, I just remembered. But everything else was stuff that I'd already seen before, like Hocus Pocus, and my friend and I just watched Four Christmases and all this stuff. I watched very, very, very little TV, and then the rest was games. So I'm going in order in each section of like worst to best. So let's get into it. So the thing that I just remembered that I did watch movie-wise was the new Hocus Pocus. I did a double feature with some friends and watched Hocus Pocus 1 and 2. It's fine. Like, it's fine for a kid's movie, which is what it is. Hocus Pocus now feels almost more like an adult movie, even though it's not, because we grew up with it, right? But it's like a cult classic now. This didn't really make sense. There was a lot of callbacks that were kind of funny to like the first movie, but like the plot overall like didn't really make sense. And like why they were back and how they were defeated and all this stuff. What I will say is if you watched it, there's like a little sort of flashback part to when they were kids, the witches. That was great, and I honestly would have watched like a prequel movie to how they got to where they were. That would have been great. This was not. It was, but I'm not like mad that I watched it or anything. I wouldn't watch it again. I mean, if someone was like, you have to watch it again, I would, but like I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it again. Next was TV. I only really tried to engage with two things. One was The Witcher season 2, which I did not finish. And I honestly feel like I've just kind of given up on this. I watched, I think, 2 or 3 episodes. Was not as interested as I was in season 1. It sounds like the way that the show's going, the direction it's going is just kind of meh. Henry Cavill's no longer gonna be The Witcher, and I don't know how they're gonna mix it up. Like, I'm just not interested. If I wanna enjoy The Witcher, I'll maybe read the books, which I don't think that I'll ever do. I'll just play the games. Like, that is fine with me. The show that I watched and did enjoy was the first season of The House of the Dragon. It pulled me back in, y'all. It was not perfect, but it was fun to engage with a show that was weekly. I tend to like when shows are released weekly. It really overwhelms me when they're all dropped at once because I don't really have the time to binge a show, but I will if I have access to it. So I keep myself from watching it so that I don't do that and waste a whole weekend. So I like these week-to-week releases. Even though I was kind of behind, I still was able to watch it in chunks and stuff. And I didn't really care about spoilers for the show because it's a prequel and all of that. So I was pleasantly surprised by it. Again, there were some things that I didn't love about the direction they went. I think season 1 was a little bit rushed. I think that to really have you care about the war that's happening, they should have built up the characters a bit more and given you some more time with them to care. But overall, like, still enjoyed it. I'm not like loving it more than Game of Thrones necessarily, but it is making me like more of a Targaryen fan. And now even like looking back in retrospect, I always loved Dany, but now I'm like, Dany! Even more than I even was before. So yeah, it was still an enjoyable experience. The rest are 8 different games. And again, I will go from like least enjoyed to most enjoyed, although I enjoyed everything on this list to a degree. So nothing was like, I hate it. But there were some that were more of favorites than others. Most of these I did play on Twitch. I am, if you're interested, switching over in the new year to YouTube streaming and gaming instead of Twitch gaming, just because I feel like it's a lot easier for my audience. So that's gonna be on my BookTube channel. So if you like my gaming content, that'll be moving over there. But number 8 was a game that I haven't even finished. I don't know if I will finish. It's just like fine, quirky, whatever, and that's Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. This is like a game that's a meme, essentially. You're a turnip, everyone else is also a plant, vegetable, food, whatever, and you're committing tax fraud. So you're like going around finding tax documents and burning them up, but it's also just like a fever dream of a game. There's some like gamer references, there's some like sort of drug type references. It's just very absurd and eccentric. been simple. So nothing that I'm like super engaged with. I think you could probably beat the game in about 4 hours. I'm probably halfway through in my like one playthrough that I played, which wasn't even on Twitch or anything. I just played it myself. It's fine. It's a really cheap game. Kind of funny if you're into that. Number 7, and this is not a bad game, it's just like a one-off kind of game. This is Abzu. It's a very beautiful game where you're basically like navigating the ocean and like sort of restoring the ocean. Like it's like an ocean world and you're swimming through it and it's beautiful. Like, that's it. It has a really beautiful soundtrack. You can play it in one sitting. I played it in one sitting on Twitch one day. It's fine, but it's not a game that I'm like gonna go back and necessarily replay. It's not necessarily even super story driven. It's just kind of more like visual, a pretty visual experience. It's from the same people, I think, that did Grease, whatever. Very pretty. Number 6 is a game I haven't yet finished, which is why it's probably not higher, because I haven't gotten the full story yet, and that's It Takes Two. This is a game that I'm playing with my friend Matthew, and we just haven't had a chance to play in like 6 months. This has mostly been me. He's asked me to play, but I've just been like, I'm too busy and I can't. But this is where you're playing as a separated couple whose daughter accidentally like does almost a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and turns them into her toys, and then they have to like try to get back. And so you're going through, like, you're shrunk and you're going through these like areas that are parts of the house and outside and her playroom, and everything's big and like it's very fun. You have to work together. You need both powers and things. There's cute little quirky dialogue. Like, yeah, they're basically going to figure out essentially how to co-parent, I think, because I do think these are two people who shouldn't be together, but I think the ending probably leaves it vague, but it's not finished yet. I haven't finished it. Number 5 was another really fun experience. Now we're getting into like the favorites. This is like the top 5 things that I engaged with throughout the year. Number 5 is the first season of The Wolf Among Us. This is a game that I hadn't played before, and then when I got a PC, I finally played it. So fun. A fun little mystery. It was nice to play on Twitch because it was little, you know, each episode, you know, everything has a consequence. All of that, it was really fun. I have not read those comics. Those were a comic series that I was wanting to read. Now I don't know if I will now because they're kind of dated and things, but the second season I think is supposed to come out in 2023. So yeah, hoping to engage with that because that was very fun and very cool. And yeah, a lot of feelings about that. Number 4 is a game I'm currently playing, so this might pop up in my 2023 as well as far as like finishing out the game, but Cult of the Lamb. This is such a fun game. The fun thing about it too is it has a Twitch integration where you can have people that are in your chat be your cultists. So you are a lamb that is forming a cult to an eldritch being, or kind of yourself, but like you're attached to this eldritch being, and it's a combination of a roguelike dungeon crawler-y thing with sort of like resource management, life management, because you're building a little cute cult village. It's so fun. It's the best of both worlds. I've gotten to the point in the game where I make so much money that I don't even really like need to do anything besides like get through. I think I have to beat what? Do I just beat the final boss? No, I think I have to beat 2 more bosses, like the second to final boss and then the final boss. And the final boss is definitely gonna be like the being that you made a cult for. But yeah, so that's what I have left and it's really fun. So I'll be finishing that up on Twitch so that people can like watch that were part of like being my cultists. But then I will move to YouTube for other games. But yeah, it's really fun. Like, you can do all these rituals. Like, it hits all the cult things so well, and I hope more games do this like streaming integration thing to bring in your audience because it's super fun. Number 3 is also a game that I'm currently playing and will probably pop up in 2023 as well, and that is Cozy Grove. This is kind of a combination of like Spiritfarer, Don't Starve, Animal Crossing-ish. You are a spirit scout and you are trying to help spirits pass on. And it's very sort of like Don't Starve but cute animation. And you have a little campsite, you're on this little island, and all of the spirits are bears. Well, with a few exceptions. There's like a raccoon and there's also like a bird. But most of them are bears. And you are completing tasks to get them to remember their memories and be able to like fully pass on, because a lot of them had like traumatic deaths and things. So giving that like Spiritfarer vibe. But it's a lot of also just like resource management. You're decorating on your island. You're lighting the island up because it starts out, you know, all like dark. There's nothing really like dangerous that you have to fight. You're collecting things, you're cooking, yeah, you're finding things on the island. You can fish. I don't love the fishing mechanic in this game, but you can do it. There's seasonal events. So right now there's like a seasonal like winter event from like the 20th of December to like the 20th of January. So there's different seasonal events. There's new bears and stuff. They're gonna come out with the Cozy Grove 2. It's super cute. I love it so much. So yeah, that's a game that I've been playing a lot while listening to audiobooks. It's like the perfect game for that because there's dialogue, but like it's just reading dialogue, so you don't have to listen to anything. And it's just super cute and cozy and like low stakes. And the game changes because of those seasonal things. It's real time, so it changes with the seasons too. So it's worth it to play for a full year because you can't actually get everything. Like I won't be able to complete the game until probably maybe fall. I started in the fall, but summer at least, because there's like different bugs, different fish, different collectibles and things each season. So you have to wait for the season to come around to complete it. So yeah, I really like it. And number 2 is a game that I did mention in 2021, but I fully finished in 2022, and that's Hades. Most people are familiar with this game, but it's a roguelike where you're trying to escape the underworld and you are the son of Hades, Zagreus. And it's so fun, but I fully finished the main plot in 2022 and then all of the romance plots in 2022. So I still have some stuff that I could do as like extra that I'm kind of doing now off stream because I played it entirely on stream. So now I'm doing some stuff where you can like up the challenges and whatever and like kind of max out everything. So I'm doing that, but at this point I probably won't talk about Hades any further in like 2023 or anything because I finished the main things, like the main story. I'm not really gonna get more new story a ton, I don't think at this point. One of my favorite games of all time. They're coming out with a Hades 2. Yes, I'm really excited about it. It's featuring another character that's trying to apparently defeat like Kronos. And so we have like whole new gods and all this. It's very exciting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well, but Hades was definitely a highlight of this year. And the biggest game highlight of this year, and I almost forgot that I played it this year because it was earlier this year, but it's one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life, and that's What Remains of Edith Finch. I played this in one sitting, I think. Maybe 2, but I think it was 1. This is technically a horror game, but it's following Edith Finch as she goes back to her family home, which is this like really crazy, eccentric home that her grandmother built, and it's basically following the trauma of this family's lives because everyone in this family has died. There's like a believed family curse. So she goes through and you get to see how like all these characters have died, but it's very clear that like there's these supernatural elements, but it's also like this is mostly trauma and like family, like toxic family dynamics and things that caused this. So there's a ton of triggers for this. There's like death of children, and you don't really get to see the deaths on screen, so it's not that, but you like know what happens there. Yes, there's like some bad ones. Lots of deaths of kids, so like suicide, gosh, I can't even think of like what, I mean like self-harmy type stuff. Abusive parents, just like a lot of really heavy stuff. So I didn't play this on stream, I just played it myself, but it's such a good game that I would honestly replay. I don't find it scary, I find it a bit like sinister and like creepy, but it's a beautiful game. It's all like first person as you're exploring. It's like kind of slow story. An amazing story. There's also a creator on TikTok who's building a almost like haunted dollhouse, which takes a lot of inspiration from this game, which I really like. It's great. There are things about this game that I still think about. Again, I would replay it. It's almost like a movie in my head now. It's one of the best things that I've engaged with in 2022. It was so good. So yeah, those are all the media things outside of books that I did, watched, played in 2022. Comment down below and let me know about your year in media. If there's anything that you would recommend me. Again, I'm really bad about TV, so maybe not TV, but like maybe movies or something, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, comment down below and let me know. Let me know your favorites of 2022. Thank you all for watching. I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.